Hey, This Old Marketing listeners, did you know that Streamyard is the easiest way to create content right in your browser? You can multi-stream to your social media platforms, host a weekly show with special guests, create webinars, record podcasts with local recordings, create videos, and more. Much, much more. And they make it easy to brand and customize your videos inside the studio before you even go live. StreamYard is super popular with live streamers, video creators, YouTubers, and podcasters. With features like live streaming, webinars, local recordings, screen sharing, and more, StreamYard makes it simple to get your professional and polished content every time. Every time, folks. Get started today for free at www. Do you have to say that? Do I have to actually say www? I don't know. www.streamyard.com. Do it today.
And now, for your listening pleasure, here's Polizzi and Rose, covering the week of media, marketing, and digital content news. This Old Marketing. Take it away, boys.
Well, hello, my friends. This is Robert Rose, and welcome to episode number 362 of This Old Marketing, a very special social media episode for Friday, February 10th, 2023. And with me, as always, well, is he really? Yes, he is. With me, as always, is my pal, my colleague, and a guy who puts the cruise in Disney Cruise, Mr. Joe Polizzi.
I've never been on a Disney cruise, and I know for sure you haven't.
And I think it's a safe bet to say never will be either. Yes. I am not a cruise guy. Definitely not.
Well, as you know, I just went to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland. I love it. I love the whole Disney experience. I could do many more days of it, but I won't
you and
do.
I differ there.
I won't do a Disney cruise because I don't. When I'm on a cruise, I don't want to be around all these little kids running around. I just don't. I don't. I've been there.
I don't generally want to be with people running around on a cruise.
Yeah, that's the tough one.
Kids.
You would want to be on a cruise of a couple people.
Yes.
Like when we went, we were in Sydney, Australia, and we were with our great friend, Craig Hodges.
Well, see, now that's different. That's going out on a boat with friends. That's not a cruise.
Yeah, remember? So they were running King Content at the time. Wonderful Australian content agency. We just had Content Marketing World, I think Content Marketing World 2013, Sydney, Australia. Yeah. And we went out on the boat, and it was wonderful. And we did jump off the boat to get to the land. We were all going swimming, and it was fantastic. Although there was just a shark incident like a week before, and I wasn't sure whether or not we should go into the water.
Well, that was the thing, right? They were like, hey, jump in and you swim to the shore, and then you hang out on the beach, and then you hang out on the beach for a while, and then you come back to the boat and drink and eat and all that stuff. And so we're sitting there. I mean, it's one of the most amazing. In fact, I still have a picture of it.
Just passed Sydney Opera House. It was one. We went to this little.
You're swimming in Sydney Harbor. That's a bucket list item, right? You're swimming in Sydney Harbor. Swimming off to the beach, hanging out on the beach, and then having beers and wine and all sorts of great food on this boat. It's an amazing trip. And as you're swimming back to the boat, they start going, oh, right, yeah, there was, there's a shark incident and several shark incidents here in Australia. And, of course, you hear about shark incidents. Everything in Australia wants to eat you or kill you. So, totally, luckily, I had just gotten in and was starting to dry off on the boat. And then they were like, oh, yeah, there's lots of shark incidents out here. It's like, what? Are you kidding me?
Well, you were lucky because they told me right before I went in. And they're all fine. They're all jumping in like it's the greatest thing ever, splashing around. Sure. Life is wonderful.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm petrified. I'm like, okay, I don't know what it was. It was probably 100 meters. From the boat to the
not far.
I'm like, okay, I can do this. I've never swam so fast. I set some kind of Michael Phelps record getting there because I didn't know, and I didn't want to make a lot of splash because I don't like if you splash a lot, does that attract sharks? I don't know. I'm assuming it's blood, but I made sure. Okay, I'm not bleeding, so let's just go as quickly as I can. What do you do? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, other than that. It was wonderful. I don't know how we got on that topic. Disney cruises.
Yeah. Disney cruises. There you go. I've been looking at cruises. Yeah.
So we're doing a little special episode today. Thank you for being amenable as you always are, and you continue to be with my crazy schedule. And
absolutely happy to do it.
I'm sure you are. Well, you sort of get a week off too. Like we tag this on to the one we just recorded, and everything is just so much nicer that way. Maybe we should do that more often, but. I don't know. Our special episodes do really well. Sometimes they do better than our regular episodes. But if we create so many special episodes, they tend not to be so special.
Right.
They become not special episodes.
That's exactly right. So we're trying to do a few of them, but not so many of them that they become unspecial.
Yeah, because if somebody says, "Oh, there they go, this old marketing doing another special episode," well, it's not a special episode.
Right.
It's like if you did a Super Bowl every week. It's like not so super.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here we are. So we're going to do this special episode, and it'll be a little shorter, probably, than usual.
We never know.
Yeah, we never
say
know.
It's going to be shorter, and then it goes like 3 hours long. Nobody wants this.
And this is going to be our social media channel in 2023 episode. Basically, what's going on, what's working, what's the playbook right now for various channels from both a content creator as well as a marketing standpoint. And we'll talk about each of the channels, the major channels, right? So, for example, we won't talk about Twitch or YouTube, which we both consider platforms rather than social media networks. But we'll talk about Twitter. We'll talk about Facebook and Instagram. We'll talk about LinkedIn. We'll talk a little bit about TikTok. And then we'll mention some others of note, maybe the new ones, Mastodon, Be Real, Tumblr. Well, Tumblr's not new, but certainly it's making
MySpace. We're going to talk about MySpace.
Having a MySpace, there you go. Talk a little bit about that.
No, real quick thing on her. Real quick thing, because I don't know if you listened to the Prop G podcast recently. He said that Horizons World, the Facebook thing that they created in the metaverse.
Yeah.
MySpace right now. Today, MySpace gets more traffic than Horizons World. I just thought that was a great stat.
Wow, that is a huge stat.
So maybe next year when we do this special episode, maybe it will be MySpace that we'll talk about.
MySpace may don't call it a comeback. That's what they say. Don't call it a comeback. All right, so let's dive right in now, shall we? And let's talk about the first one, which of course So what, in the classic Seinfeldian way, what's the deal with Twitter? What are we doing with Twitter? What is going on with Twitter? What is your take on Twitter from both a content creator and a marketing standpoint right now as we record
right now? Well, there was some news that came out recently. There's conjecture. There's belief that Twitter will be, like what we predicted, would become a payments platform. I think that ultimately that's what Elon wants. But in the meantime, Twitter seems to have leveled out. We're not seeing any kind of crazy Elon things that, Elon's not being Elon this week because he did all the Elon stuff, firing 75% of the staff, then having to bring some back because some few things broke. But it seems to be working. They seem to be figuring out their verification system, or they're at least coming up with some kind of strategy. And I think that the play continues to be the same for Twitter. It is if you can consistently deliver something of value multiple times a day, including a Twitter thread here or there, and you continue to get active on other people's accounts that you're trying to target or where your audience is hanging out, you can be very successful with Twitter. I think if you use it sparingly, it will go tragically wrong for you. Like, it'll be no big deal.
Yeah.
You won't see any benefit at all. I think you either have to be all in or nothing with Twitter, and that's what I see for the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, I agree. I have been toying with coming back on Twitter, although I have to be honest, I'm not missing it. I am still using it as a consumption platform, and occasionally there are folks who are retweeting stuff that I've written in the past, or my blogs, or say nice things to us via the show, and I'm liking those things. So I'm there consuming content and liking things, but I haven't posted since I think November of last year. And so Yeah, so I've been toying with coming back, I'm my indecision on it is I'm not missing it. I'm not missing it as a creation platform. I do miss some of the traffic. We got a lot of traffic to our website off of Twitter, so I'm not going to lie that the traffic to our website is down because of my lack of posting on Twitter, which we usually got quite a bit. but they're still for example, when I post on CMI, they're obviously they're all on Twitter, so they're very nicely promoting my content on there. So it's not like you can't find me, but it's interesting to me. I'm of two minds of it, right? I think you're right. I think if you go all in on it and you make it your thing, it can really work well for you, despite the levels of toxicity that have certainly risen since Elon took over. And I think you're seeing a lot of our Inside Baseball crew have either moved on or are very, very much lightening up their use of Twitter. So I think, obviously I don't know the numbers, but I think Twitter at this point it's hanging on, I guess is the right way to put it, from both a marketing perspective as well as I think if you're a brand, you kind of have to be there to do the things that I'm actually doing as a, I guess, customer service is really the only way to put it, right? So monitoring Twitter for complaints or people adding you with, comments and those kinds of things. If you're a brand, I think you probably have to do that. But I'm not sure from a Twitter advertising or a Twitter marketing or those kinds of things that unless you're all in on it, I'm not sure that it's one that you have to be on now if you're a new brand.
No, I would agree with that. I think that you could make a decision not to actively publish content on Twitter. You, as a brand, you use it for customer service. I think it's absolutely great. People still, their first mode to complain if they have a Twitter account would be using the Twitter as a channel to do that. I think you use it as a press release service when there's some kind of news. That's great. You go ahead and let everybody know. First of all, blanket statement with all social media channels that we're going to talk about. If you don't go all in with them, you can't half-ass it and be successful on any of these channels anymore. They're mostly content discovery. It's not social media. You have to really work at it. Right. I mean, we'll talk about LinkedIn in a little bit, but I've been working so hard on LinkedIn, and it is making a dent, and we'll talk about that if you want to, but it is a lot of work and a lot of time, and that's just one channel. So I made the decision. I said, I don't have time for two channels. So if people have been watching me on Twitter, every other day I'll post something that I think is somewhat interesting, but that's it. And I'll reply to people. But that's all I'm using Twitter. And I think if you're a brand of any size, you make a decision, am I in or out? Am I customer service or am I in? And if you're in all the way, and you really work with some of the influencers that have an audience and get to work with them on some partnerships together. Yeah. And do it that way and get a little bit of extra audience juice from not your own audience.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And so I think for me, it's a we'll see. We'll see what happens with Twitter in the short term to see if it because it may actually go away as a sort of social media thing and become much more of a Venmo or a payment platform, like you said. So I think we'll see if it continues to be
the big for the most part, especially in tech. The big voices are all on Twitter, and they remain very, very active on Twitter.
True.
So it's still a who's who. It's still a very influential. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's ever going to have significant audience growth. What are they at? 200 million, 250 million? Yeah. They're not seeing any growth, and they haven't for quite some time. And the other thing is, from an advertising standpoint, I don't know anybody that's ever come to me saying, oh, my God, Twitter advertising, it's amazing. Never heard that once. I've heard that with Facebook many times, but not with Twitter.
That's right. Well, speaking of Facebook, let's move on to them. And so Facebook and Instagram will cover kind of together since they are one company, Meta. Facebook actually reporting great earnings and growth over the last quarter. Not too long ago, we covered it last week on the show. And so Instagram, to me, Instagram is the play here, especially if you're B2C or in any kind of e-commerce. I am frequently now find myself shopping on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I really am. It's a fascinating thing.
I'm sorry. How does that work? How do you do shopping on Instagram? By the way, I don't use Instagram, so I'm not a good person to talk to on this. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a consumer on Instagram. I mean, I have an account, but I don't put any business stuff there at all. So the way I use Instagram is all personal, right? It's just friends and, so vacation pictures and, pictures of my neighborhood and, fun stuff like that. So I put zero business on Instagram. By the way, Facebook too. I have zero business stuff on Facebook. If we're friends on Facebook or friends on Instagram, you're not getting any content marketing stuff.
Yeah, you're 90% Cowboys.
Yeah, well, or during the season, of course. But when it's not, I'm 90% sunsets and hike pictures and
you had 10 posts on
Facebook
during the fall, and it was "How about them Cowboys?" 10 posts.
That's it. That's right. Yeah. That's right. 12 actually to be precise because they won 12
I'm
games.
sorry.
But, yes,
you won 12. Yeah. Well, the Browns didn't do so well. So, anyways,
yeah. Anyway, but I am I have become a little bit of a, I don't know what you call it, an impulse buyer, where I see like a cool T-shirt or I see a cool piece of clothing or I see a cool. I've done it with gadgets like phone cases before, where I see a cool post and I watch the video or I look at the pictures and then there's link in bio or you can link right there to buy it, and I've bought many things there, and it's really a great platform. And I've heard the same from both content creators, especially those that focus on more of a B2C type of thing, or their coaches or their those kinds of platforms are really thriving on Instagram, especially Instagram. And it's where the young people are. Young people are on Instagram. They're not on Facebook. So tons of interesting things, I think, on Instagram. Probably Instagram is much more interesting, I think, than Facebook. But my network, friends, family, et cetera, tends to be Facebook users only because that's where we all sort of grew up on social media. So I think you find a little bit of an older crowd there. So I think from a marketing standpoint, you're B2C. You need to be there. You should be there. Absolutely focused on it.
I guess I would differ in the fact that I don't think any company needs to be on any of these channels. I'm just going to say that right now, especially if you're not all in. If you're going to be there for research purposes and understanding the pain points of your customers, great. But if you're just every once in a while, I don't think you're going to see much benefit, which is fine. You could just check. If you want to just check the box, fine, check the box. I think where Instagram is going to have trouble here is when they went from just the picture to the video, to Reels, and they're trying to compete with TikTok and figure out that algorithm. I think it overall hurt their growth. Now they're still doing fantastic. It's still the best purchase by any company M&A ever. Maybe YouTube. Maybe you could say Google and buying YouTube, but Facebook buying Instagram for $1 billion was amazing. Since you talked about Instagram, I want to talk about Facebook a little bit. I do see some people doing really well with Facebook groups. So you have
Very
2 billion people, 2 billion with a B per day on Facebook. It is huge. Yep. It is a Goliath. So your audience is there. If you wanted to put something together that's special to them, I think using a Facebook group makes sense, especially if you're going to use video. So we did some case studies for Content Inc., my 21 book that came out, and found that the ones that were really making Facebook groups work for them are the ones that would send out 30 to 45 second videos every day. So again, consistency to make it work. You have to put something into that community that sparks conversation and gets people talking to each other. So I think then you might have an opportunity around different groups, if you have different audiences, different personas, to use the Facebook group to do that.
Yeah, I would say probably 80% of my content creation. It's funny because you were noting earlier that I had 12 posts over the football season, and they were all, how about them Cowboys? But most, like 80% of my posts that I did create were in Facebook groups that either you and I share. There's a couple that you and I share that we're part of, but that there's a few of them that we don't. Where I'm posting is in those groups. That's where I'm posting. I do not find myself posting a lot on Facebook anymore, sort of generally speaking. You know, I don't know. I find it more valuable for me as a consumption platform than a creation platform, mostly because I don't feel like I have to share that much. Like, I'm not using it. Like, I think your point about going all in on it and being consistent with it is really, really important, because if you're going to go in on it as a business or as a content creator, you've really got to curate it. You've really got, because you're fighting with all that other noise that's out there. And so if you care about that stuff, you've got to be really consistent about it and noisy with it, to be honest. The people that I see, the businesses that I see succeeding at it are, you know, we've talked at great length about how Cleveland Clinic, right, made Facebook truly work. I mean, it was really, really working for them. And their key was an amazing owned media platform that high quality content and a consistency and velocity of publishing every day with great content that created that loyalty of all of those audiences to stick around and engage with that content, because that's what you have to get. You have to get people engaging, commenting, sharing, liking, all that stuff. And it's just work, and you've got to work those things.
Well, the social platforms are different than like if you look at a blog, you could make a case that if you did one amazing blog a week, or like Andy Crestodina does an amazing blog every month, research-based, incredible, works really well for him. So that, it puts a lot of time into this. Is a 3,000 word article, whatever. That's different. Yeah. A podcast is different. We can do a weekly. If you look at any of these other social platforms, you almost have to commit to daily activity.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
So
yeah, absolutely agreed. Well, that brings up so Crestodina, his main platform is LinkedIn.
Yes.
So let's talk about LinkedIn, because I think you both and we're both going to say the same thing here, which is LinkedIn is having a bit of a moment at the moment.
I would agree.
It's really, really becoming sort of the business and marketing platform of choice when it comes to social media. What say you?
Well, as we talked about last episode, I'm a bull on LinkedIn right now, and my little experiment seems to be working. I've been almost 90 days, I think, Robert, now that I've been posting every day. I try to do it on the weekends too, which is really rare for me because I usually shut everything down. But I definitely do one post, generally 2 posts, Monday through Friday. Of course, there has to be a big idea. And then generally within the first 30 minutes, you got to stick around and make sure that people that comment on that, you comment back. It sort of really helps the algorithm and make sure it gets found. And the other key to that happening is you have to comment on other people's posts. You really, if you want this to work, you have to do these things. And there's a whole formula, I think, for making it happen. Now, it could go away and the algorithm could change, and this is not the thing. But right now, you absolutely have to be active like the other ones on LinkedIn. And then we talked about it on last episode as well. There's something about this LinkedIn newsletter thing. The algorithm is pushing people to the newsletter. So if you say something interesting from your brand page or from your personal page, they go to your profile. My profile looks are up, I don't know, 1,000% over the past 90 days of people going from Joe says something interesting, so clicking on the profile, and the first thing they seem to do from a call to action is go to the newsletter, which I'm getting about 100 or 150 subscribers a day on right now. Very simple process, nothing earth-shattering, but again, daily content. You got to work the comments about 30 minutes a day if you're really committed to this thing, and the newsletter works well. So they're putting so much into this newsletter too, as we talked about on the last episode. If you didn't listen to that, go listen to that, because we talked about it in detail on all the things that LinkedIn is planning on doing for their newsletter. So I think that's the play. But as I talked about before, Robert, I've had to take the foot off the pedal of Twitter. I can't do both at the same time. Now, maybe people listening could you have a whole bunch of contractors and a whole bunch of social media help that can do all the channels. Wonderful for you. I think that most organizations can probably only focus on at maximum 2 to be amazing at one time.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, okay. I think I've gone on all in on LinkedIn.
Are you posting every day now?
I have been posting every day, but I post probably once or twice a day. But what I haven't been doing is the longer posts. And
you do more you do more commentary and a link to article. Isn't that mostly what you do?
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. But I have been starting to add in more of the sort of self-encompassed posts, right? The sort of self-contained posts. So I've been doing that. And based on our conversation last week, I'm going to be launching a LinkedIn newsletter for sure. Because holy smokers, was that eye-opening to me. I just thought, oh man, it's just so much noise out there. I can't, but I was a little too inside baseball for that. So I'm going to be transferred, because we've just relaunched our Experience Advisors newsletter, which is our content advisory newsletter, regular email as well. So I'm just going to add to that. I'm just going to do it like you're doing. I'm going to do a version of that on LinkedIn.
Yeah, by the way, if people, so everybody knows how the newsletter thing works, is that when you launch a newsletter, everybody who follows you will get a notification to subscribe. So right off the bat, if you've got a good follower count, you should pick up people that just say, oh, I know Robert. I'm going to subscribe. I think he'll send something interesting. So that's your first post that goes out. And then as you go through that, you want to set it up as one of your key links when they go into your profile, so that they see that immediately, that, oh, Joe's got a newsletter, and that's there. And you can see your subscribers at any time. And then every time you send out a new newsletter, they get an email. They actually get an email that it goes out. So it is actual an email newsletter, not with all the analytics yet, and not with the fact that you can take those subscribers there. Like, I can go into my subscribers and I can look at all of them, but I only get a big long list, and I can't do anything with them at this point. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to our last one really quickly here that we're going to cover in any level of depth, which is, of course, the skyrocketing volcano that is TikTok. TikTok feels like it's on a TikTok, to be honest. It feels like it's on a bit of a timing thing, which is it's going like crazy. And by the way, I've had no less than, I don't know, a dozen people tell me that I absolutely should be doing videos on TikTok, even as a B2B consulting firm, et cetera, that there's plenty of those out there, that it's doing great. I have committed to doing it, and then of course didn't, because I'm lazy and have other things to do. I'm reconsidering it now, trying to think about how I would do it. The people that I've heard that are like me talk about the difficulty of there's a bit of a learning curve with getting on TikTok and doing it well. So I've been a little intimidated, I'll be honest with it, but what do you think? I mean, is it worth investing in now because it's going to get banned, or what are your thoughts on it?
So that's, I'm torn. First of all, I'm not willing to spend the time, and I don't like to do video normally. So I'm sort of saying that I'm tapping out, and I will learn from other people. My favorite little case study that's going on, and you and I are good friends with Jay Bear, that he's done his whole @tequila.j account on TikTok, and he's got, I don't know what he has, 100,000 plus followers in a very short period of time. He does reviews of tequila. I mean, Jay's been in the content marketing space forever, and now he went this direction, and it's really been successful for him. And he's actually going to do a keynote presentation on this for Creator Economy Expo in May. And I say, hey, Jay, talk about something differently. Talk about TikTok. It absolutely can work. Everybody that's gone all in with TikTok that I've talked to, nobody says, oh, it didn't work. They all say, hey, if you distribute consistent content on a regular basis on TikTok that is compelling, it will absolutely work. And what's interesting to me is the videos are getting longer. Like, generally you'd say, oh, it has to be 15, 20 seconds. They are absolutely getting into longer form video. A lot of Jay's videos are a minute and a half long. So it's interesting to see how that's working. So my caveat to that is what you brought up. I don't know how long TikTok has. I just saw another notification that state offices, any government agencies in North Carolina, are banning the use of the TikTok app. My fear for creators that are on this platform is that once it gets banned nationwide by the United States government, which I think is going to happen, then the government's going to say, well, anybody we work with, anybody we contract with can't have that either. So then you're going to have a whole nother slew of people, and then you're going to see it topple over. and go away. There has to be some change in the ownership structure of TikTok, I believe, in the next 18 months for it to stay in the United States. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think there's going to be come springtime this year, there's going to be a big to-do about this. And we will talk about it, I'm sure, on the regular episodes. We'll talk about the banning. We'll talk about there will be some sort of last-minute thing. It'll be really interesting. I don't have a gut feel for whether or not they're going to be able to save it. I do absolutely 100% predict that there will be some kind of ban talked about and or passed through Congress. But whether or not there's a deal worked out to say, okay, like you're talking about, an independent company, whether it's Oracle, which currently, quote unquote, has the database, I guess is the right way to put it, or whether Microsoft comes in, or whether somebody else comes in that sort of looked at it in the earlier days when there was this same kind of ban being talked about. We'll see. I just don't have a good gut feel for which way it's going to go. I could see it being totally banned and being everybody freaking out. But I could, and by the way, I think the beneficiary of that is Facebook, obviously, and Twitter a little bit, because all those short form videos would go to Instagram and Meta probably. I just noticed how much effort and focus Facebook is putting on Reels lately.
Sure.
So
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes, and I think I could see it going either way. To be honest,
yeah, we'll find out. There's a lot of government meetings coming up in Congress to discuss this, so we should have some more visibility in the next couple months. We hope.
Yeah.
That's my concern. We know if you go all in, it will work for you as a content marketer, as a content creator. Problem is, I don't want to commit to that because you're building on rented land and it can go away.
Yeah.
Like any of them.
That's right.
But this one more than
That's
others.
Right. That's right. So any others to note here? Anybody else have your attention from a marketing and or content creator standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it on the last episode. I'm not on Be Real anymore, but if you're targeting 10-year-olds to 25-year-olds, Be Real is the up-and-comer. They've had 29,000% growth in the last year. They now have 10 million regular people on it. And Be Real, by the way, is where it'll ping you and you have to take a front and back picture of where you're at. It's like, oh, it's Be Real. You're real. And you post that to your friends and family or whatever. Because I was at my old high school giving a class on leadership, and I asked them, and everyone was very emphatic about Be Real being amazing, and everyone was on it. More than anything, they didn't say TikTok, they didn't say Instagram, they said Be Real. So I thought that was interesting. So look at that. Pinterest, if you're a consumer brand, if you're looking at live shopping, kind of like you do for Instagram, I think Pinterest is a really big, interesting play.
It's one of the most underappreciated.
Underappreciated.
Sure.
I've heard. We have another presentation at Creator Economy Expo about driving lead generation through Pinterest, and it's a thing. So I'm looking at that, and then as a side note for Facebook, we don't talk about it much, but WhatsApp now has a billion users, and people are using WhatsApp as a content platform. I'm not sure why. I have to do more research on that. I just heard that they're, for selling, some people were selling certain things and they were using WhatsApp as their audience generating channel. And I don't know how that works, but there's something there as well. And Facebook didn't spend $20 billion for nothing. So I think there's something there.
Yeah.
Well, how about you? What do you got?
Exactly. I'm still playing around with Mastodon. They're starting to make it available through Buffer and some of the social media publishing platforms. So that's good news that you don't have to actually log in to Mastodon to actually go post and stuff like that, which is always a bit of a, like you were saying earlier about some of the other platforms where you have to go in and remember to post every day and all that kind of stuff. It just takes time and is harder than it should be. So they're starting, so you can schedule things and we can get a little bit more organization around our posting. But I'm finding Mastodon very interesting for really who's not there, right? There's not a lot of noise there right now. There's a lot of signal. So I'm still playing with it. I may be coming around to your view, like that it's not, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to make Mastodon happen. It's not going to happen. So I don't know. But I'm still there. I'm still playing with it. I really like it. That's my problem is I really enjoy the interface and I enjoy how it looks and behaves. And I like having my own little server. And it's kind of cool. So I like it a lot. And I'm this whole federation and federated and the Fediverse and all that stuff I'm fascinated by. I think it's early on that. I think that is a really interesting trend to follow is the Fediverse stuff.
Yeah, I just heard about that. I haven't been paying attention to the Fediverse stuff, so I'll have to get in.
It's
on
interesting. It's interesting. It's a new kind of web service, really. And so it's connecting a lot of things, which may be really interesting, being able to connect things like WordPress to your social networks, to your e-commerce. There's some interesting things going on there for sure.
Interesting. Do you have all in all, do you have something you want to leave the listeners with for social media?
Focus. I think basically my overall message is social media as a thing is evolving in a very disruptive way right now. So be circumspect around where you put all your eggs. The rented land is the most important thing to remember here. Play and experiment a lot. And keep it at that level, and basically go all in on where you're finding success, and just know as we've always said for forever and ever that if treat all of these things as if they can go away tomorrow, because if there's any time in history that many of them will go away tomorrow, it could be now.
No, I agree with everything you said, and I would just add on top of the focus when I'm working with content entrepreneurs and they're trying to get things to work, they're generally on 5 or 6 of these. All of them, basically all the ones I mentioned, and just a lot of experimenting. Again, to your point, nothing wrong with it. But if you just take all your content energy and you spread it out through all of these social networks, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to build an audience. You're not going to be ever able to really show that it's doing anything for your business. So that's why you're seeing a lot of people make a decision. Oh, I'm going all in on Twitter. I'm going all in on Reels, on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever. Pick, choose, go all in. Probably any of these would work for you if you just choose. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're away, so it's sort of like it's sort of this meta thing. Like, what if I ask you what's next? What's next? You're coming back.
Yeah, coming back. We're so deep into Creator Economy Expo. We're just landing a couple new speakers. I don't know by the time this goes out if we'll have told everybody, but we're very excited about the lineup. So if you are not planning on coming to Creator Economy Expo May 1st to 3rd and you do anything with content creation, I don't know what's wrong with you. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Rose is going to be there speaking. I'm going to be there.
It'll be fun.
50 amazing speakers are going to be there. So yeah, cex.events. Go sign up. What do you got going on?
Yeah. I got prep for a couple of speaking engagements, virtual speaking engagements, all sorts of things like that, and then ultimately client work is going great, and I'm going to be watching the Super Bowl this weekend. So there you go.
There you go. Which by the time people listen to this, will already is that right? No, that won't be right. That's
no.
Right.
No, it won't be right.
We can do the
cusp.
Super Bowl roundup episode next week. That's great.
That's exactly
perfect.
Right. That's exactly right.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that is it, folks. Thank you so much. We will see you next week with a regularly scheduled news episode. Do let us know, won't you? Again, you like these special episodes. We really like them. We think you like them too. But we'd love to hear. So visit us at thisoldmarketing.site if you want to let us know what you think of these special episodes. And if there are any topics that you would like us to cover in future special episodes, we always love those ideas as well. Until we see you next week with our next regularly scheduled This Old Marketing, remember, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. See you next week on This Old